going to look like. That's your nasal cavity, right? If you look at the structure, that's where your nose is, this is where your mouth is, and you are going to have your tongue, which is also going to be kept wet, just like your nasal cavity, how we learned today. There are going to be mucus cells that are going to be lining the entire respiratory system, and the reason they line the respiratory system is so that the respiratory system can remain moist. The air that moves through your respiratory system can be made moist, and so that the warming of the air can also take place, right? So this is basically what your what your model for the respiratory system would look like. You have this particular structure, which is going to be called as your cartilage. Okay, this is the tracheal cartilage, and I need you to notice that this is not making a complete ring onto your structures, right? So it's not a complete ring, it's only a half ring, and it does not come all the way till the end. So it's going to make a C-shaped cartilage. It is going to be there so that it can support your respiratory tract. Okay, it is going to be containing anywhere between 16 to 20 Highline cartilage rings, and these Highline cartilage rings are basically going to make sure that you are keeping the trachea very nicely open for the respiration to take place. The trachea is then going to move all the way down, okay, and it is going to be turning into your bronchus. If this is what your bronchus is going to look like, you are going to see it bifurcates over here into two separate ends, one which is here and one which is here. The one that is getting highlighted right now in green, the portion that we are looking at is your right main bronchus, and the portion we are looking at now is your left main bronchus. Both of these bronchi, okay, are going to be responsible for taking all of the air from one side to the other. Okay, as you look at this particular part, the left main bronchus is going to be forming the root of the lung, and this is going to enter into your left lung, and it is going to be having a pulmonary artery that is going to be moving inside. If I add my arteries here, you would be able to see that this is where my heart is located. I'm just going to move this in the middle, right? So this is where my heart is. If I turn it completely around, you would be able to see the structures from the back side. Let's get into it here. Right, so this is what we want to look at. I'm just going to hide this part. Okay, yeah, so now what you're going to be able to see is that there's a blood vessel that is moving in here, and this is what your bronchus looks like. We will hide this part as well, and see, this is how these portions are going to enter inside. Okay, now once you understand that this is how your lungs are going to be supplied with the blood from your heart, okay, I'm going to remove this entire portion out like this. So I'm going to remove this one as well, and I'm going to make this a little transparent for you to see. So when I bring my model in front like this, right, you can see there is a blood vessel that is taking the blood from your lungs and pumping it into your heart, and then there's a blood vessel in your heart as well that is going to take this portion out. Okay, this portion is going to be moving the blood to the other parts of your body, right? So that's basically how the transportation of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood is going to take place. All of this blood that is oxygenated because of your lungs makes its way either into the uppermost body parts. Okay, so this is your carotid artery, this is also your carotid artery of the right side, and this is the one on your left hand side. This is your bronchiocephalic trunk. Okay, this is basically going to make sure that it is supplying the blood to your right side of the head, neck and upper limb. Okay, whereas the structures that it is going to branch into, this is called as your subclavian artery, and this major thing that you see over here is your ascending aorta. The ascending aorta is going to make sure that you have the blood moving into a particular direction. Okay, it is going to be a large blood vessel. This one that you see, the one that bifurcates into three like this is your aortic arch, right? So these are the several structures of your heart, and this one, the one that you are able to see now, okay, this is your left side of the lung. Okay, it is going to have arterial supply, it is going to have a venous drainage, which means that there are left bronchial veins that are going to remove the structure or the blood from here. This is what your respiratory system looks like, and you want to remember the position, you want to remember how exactly your heart is going to be in association with all of the other structures. If you remember, I also told you that your respiratory system is going to have some space carved out so that your heart can very nicely stay situated in the middle here like this. Okay, if you go on to add all the other layers of your respiratory system, you would see there is this portion which is called as your pleura. Okay, this is a pleura that covers the internal part of your body. Okay, and this one which is present inside is going to make sure that your abdominal fascia are going to be separated from all the other structures like lungs and heart. You are also going to have your diaphragm here, so I'll be adding my diaphragm now. Okay, and you can see this portion over here, this is my diaphragm, this entire thing that has got lit up. Okay, this is basically what you call as your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is going to be allowing you to make sure that you keep all of the pressure maintained. Okay, your diaphragm is going to be made up of left and right muscular dome, and it basically allows you to make sure, okay, that you are going to have good separation. Again, that's basically the important part that you would be looking at. Now, along with this particular diaphragm, okay, you want to see that during the time when you are going to have the inspiration, you are going to see the contraction of this structure that is going to take place. Okay, this contraction is basically very important for the passage of the gases from one side to the other. Okay, and then your entire respiratory system obviously is going to be covered by muscles, and there are going to be bones that are going to be present like this. And then if you go on adding muscles, you would see that this portion that just got added and highlighted in your yellow color, this is your intercostal muscle, the right portions. Okay, these are your right intercostal muscles. Adding one more layer would give you these external intercostal muscles, which means that the ones that you had before this, okay, the muscles that you had before this were your internal ones, and then you have your external intercostal muscle. I'm just going to hide these a little, and now you can see these ones are the internal ones. Okay, and the ones that you see on top later are going to be your external intercostal muscles, these ones. Okay, so that's basically the two muscles that you want to remember. Now, if I am to show you exactly how close they are going to be located, then you can see there's a very tiny amount of space that they have. This one over here, okay, this is your internal muscle, and the one on the outside is your external muscle. Then you have your ribs. This is the second and the third rib, and between the second and the third rib there is a layer of these intercostal muscles. Okay, so you are going to have your intercostal muscles start from the first rib, and then in between the first and the second rib there's going to be a pair of intercostal muscles. Again, between 2 and 3 there's going to be one pair, and they are going to continue down till your last rib over here, right? So if I bring it up again, you'd be able to see I have my muscles extending all the way till here. These are my external intercostal muscles, and this rib which got highlighted in my green color is my 11th rib, and I have another rib over here which is 12th, and this muscle, the yellow one again, is my intercostal muscle which is internal. This is my external intercostal muscle. So that's how my ribs are going to be lined up around my intercostal muscles, right? So that's what you need to remember about your respiratory system. Okay, so that's the point.